or another, we've got the VP candidate of the United States attacking the other VP of the other party because they grew up poor and then eventually found themselves going to Yale, graduating from Yale and becoming successful. Obviously, we got to demonize success at this particular convention. You've also got the former Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, who was probably drunk at the time when she went out there, walking out to the podium. And of course, you've also at the same exact time got some very, very suspicious thing coming out of her pocket before she began to speak. You've got former President Bill Clinton, a guy who, quite frankly, was a predator who, let's just go ahead and say it, abused women, speaking on behalf of the party that's supposed to be the champion of protecting women. You've also got Barack Obama, once again, demonizing success. Meanwhile, his wife goes out there and tells you about how it was that she was racially targeted, even though now she's a multi-millionaire with several homes, including one in Martha's Vineyard. The Obamas, by the way, are worth millions and millions and millions of dollars. And also to go on top of this, you've got Matt Walsh somehow or another infiltrating the Democratic National Convention. And of course, you see gender-neutral bathrooms, stuff like that. It makes you wonder, what exactly was this Democratic National Convention about? Because from what I could see, it was a convention full of hypocrisy and lies, which, by the way, we expected. It was also a convention that, by the way, demonized success. It makes you wonder exactly what this convention was even for and who it even caters to or who it even panders to. And also, you've got the Democratic nominee for president, once again, not taking any questions. And now, all of a sudden, she's pro-Israel, when, of course, these people were not pro-Israel. Yet, somehow or another, this particular convention got, let's just say, overrun with maggots, which is kind of funny, especially given the fact that when Netanyahu came to the States here recently, there were maggots at the convention where he was at. Makes you kind of wonder if something was, I don't know, maybe something was planted there. Somebody's getting back at another. I really and truly don't know. Who in the world was this convention for? Because it seems to me like it was for the Misery Loves Company crowd and soy boy beta males, of which, by the way, they're starting to shrink in mass. Or maybe they're increasing. Still, though, either way, it seems to me like this convention was designed for a base of people who had no intentions to vote, and by the way, probably still won't vote. So it makes you wonder, why in the world was this convention even had?
Peeing on my leg and then insisting that we all dance in the rain. We are being lied to. It is annoying. It is irritating beyond all reason. So stop telling me Kamala Harris is a wondrous politician and a symbol of hope and joy who dances and sings and cooks rather than what she is, a manipulative, chameleonic, corrupt careerist who shifts her positions and her person at whim and who will not answer a single damned question. Not one. We are now on day 33 of answering 0 questions.
It's so weird to me. The constant attacks on J.D. Vance for going to Yale. I don't understand this. I've heard Walls proclaim to be a small-town guy who wants everybody to get an education and succeed. And he spends a fair amount of time attacking J.D. Vance, who grew up poor and got an worked hard to get an education and rise above his station in life. And he has used it as a punchline on the campaign trail, and I don't understand what he's trying to communicate to every small-town poor kid out there, saying, if you choose to work hard and go to an Ivy League school, you somehow abandon your hometown. I don't get it.
Speaking as one of those small-town kids who actually went to Yale,
yes,
I do take exception to that. I think you are correct on that.
Forgot to mention Adam Kinzinger, that guy there. Look, before we get started in this, let me just go ahead and tell you guys really quick. Make sure you guys go to your phones, cut the notifications on for this channel, YouTube's notifications itself, so that way you guys are informed when the video comes out. Make sure you guys also hit the like button for the algorithm, so that way this video will take off. Please subscribe if you haven't already done so. Let's make this channel, let's make this platform grow, and let's go ahead and get into this. Also, one more thing too. Don Lemon got up there, and by the way, I did a video on him earlier today. He went up there and announced that the DNC was going to have some special guests. So people began to speculate, who is this? Is it Taylor Swift? Is it Beyonce? Is it George W. Bush? Look, W is a lot of things, but one thing W is not is a Democrat. So I highly doubt he would actually speak at that convention. And by the way, he didn't. So instead, you got Pink, who had already been announced. Then you find out later on that Kamala Harris didn't want a celebrity there because the celebrity would upstage her. Yeah. This right here is a very, very secure crowd, people. Just keep that in mind as we go through this video. I'm just curious, what was the real purpose behind this particular Democratic National Convention? Now, obviously, as you guys know, every 4 years, the political parties get together and they obviously have a convention, RNC, DNC, all that type of stuff there. And some, of course, are more famous than others. 1968 is the one that always comes to my mind, seeing how it is that this year's DNC was held in Chicago. And, of course, on night one, you had a lot of this right here going on. Also, something else, too, that I find, find kind of odd, but in a way, kind of more scathing when you actually think about it, was that, you see, the Democrats were supposed to have a Palestinian speaker speak on night 4. So that way the Palestinians, they could get their side of it out of the conflict between Israel and Hamas. By the way, as you guys know, I don't agree with anything these people say, but still at the same time, though, this right is a part of the base that you're pandering to. So wouldn't it be a good idea to maybe let somebody speak? Well, then you get this letter here basically saying that they're withdrawing their support from Harris. Remember something, folks. This right here is a good chunk of their base, especially in the Midwest where these people need to win elections. However, instead we find out that this Democratic National Convention doesn't exactly deal with the issues. Instead, it panders to what Dana Bash is about to describe.
Forward male figures, Tim Walz being one of them, Doug Emhoff last night, who can speak to men out there who might not be the sort of testosterone-laden, gun-toting kind of guy who wants to listen to Hulk Hogan and the kind of players that came out at the RNC, or might want to listen to that, but also, in addition, understand that it's okay in 2024 to be a man comfortable in his own skin who supports a woman. And that's something that they really are trying to work on with.
Basically, soy boys, beta males, Republicans, we had Hulk Hogan. And while it is that I personally don't care for the lies of Hulkamania or Hulk Hogan, I could say that Hulk Hogan ripping his shirt off was obviously a boost. It's always a sight to see, even though something else too needs to be said. And by the way, I'll probably do a video on this in the future, especially in 2025 when we fully change everything over on the Gawker lawsuit, because that lawsuit, for some odd reason, is turned out to pay complete total dividends for the nation, especially when it comes to Supreme Court matters. But still, though, what was the purpose behind this convention? Well, as you guys can obviously see, and I'm showing you guys in the B-roll footage, you see Obama, you see Tim Walz. Something very, very funny about Tim Walz. While we're talking about Tim Walz's stolen valor, there's one more thing. Somebody posted earlier. Apparently, this right here was him on night 3 with his son, who was crying, tearing up because his father was on stage. His son has a disability. And obviously, we can empathize with parents who have children who have disabilities. Obviously, look, I'll put it this way here. I don't think you should make fun of anybody who has kids with disabilities. But then again, though, when you see him actually jerk his child like that, it makes you wonder what he is like at home. Let me go ahead and say what this is. Let me go ahead and say what it was. This right here was a base convention, meaning that this right here was a convention that was designed to motivate the Democratic Party base. The reason why is because the Democrats have not only Trump to fight back against, but they also have a lot of Senate seats to defend. They have to try to keep whatever they can, because it seems to me that maybe they already know that the orange man is getting in office. However, I've been saying for a while that regardless of what the polling data says, and of course now RFK Jr. now about to endorse Trump, or that's what it looks like, I've been saying for a while that the problem that the Democrats were going to have was this Israel-Gaza conflict, Israel-Hamas conflict. You try to play both sides of the aisle. And of course, right this moment in time, when Harris suddenly decides to take a pro-Israel stance, like you guys will see.
Always stand up for Israel's right to defend itself, and I will always ensure Israel has the ability to defend itself.
After basically disrespecting Benjamin Netanyahu, the most you're going to get is maybe, maybe 1% to 2% extra when it comes to Jewish voters, who, by the way, primarily live in New York and Florida. Both of those states are solidly the color that you see on the map. So what was the purpose behind this particular event? This event was designed to motivate their base of weakling supporters. That right there is what it was designed to do. But Let me just go ahead and tell you exactly how irritating it was. It was extremely irritating to listen to. We have to look at Elizabeth Warren come out there, Pocahontas, who provide us with so much laughs and so much, let's just say, so many smiles talking about her being 1,024th, being Native American. We had to listen to that there. We had to have Michelle Obama come out and lecture us on how she was treated, even though she's a multi-millionaire, damn near billionaire, who's got a home in Martha's Vineyard, or as you guys will see in this rant from Ben Shapiro here in a second, which I thought was absolutely hilarious. These people have no room to lecture anybody, but let's play this.
President of the United States. And we're supposed to believe that it's all about the vibes, man. It's all about how she really loves Venn diagrams and she's feeling, are you feeling the joy? Are you feeling the joy? Stop telling me Tim Walz, a good old boy, championship winning football coach, instead of what he is, a radical left-winger who caters to trans politics and lets BLM radicals burn down the major cities in Minnesota and calls socialism neighborliness and apparently visits China every 5 seconds. Stop lying to me. Also, he's a weird...
I'll leave the full rant in the description box. However, I do want to go ahead and say this. There's a moment in the rant where he says that Trump's team is actually understaffed. That's actually not true. Trump's actually got the most oiled machine he's ever had as a political candidate or ever in his political history. But the fact of the matter is that these people don't need to be lecturing the average, ordinary, everyday American. Let's watch the rest of it.
Willing to sacrifice for the public good, when in reality, Joe Biden is the most corrupt politician of my lifetime. He used his public position to enrich his corrupt venal family for literally decades, since before I was born, and then he was stabbed in the back by his own party and sent to political hospice care just to get rid of him. And now you're saying that he's sacrificial, he's Cincinnatus or George Washington? Stop lying. Stop telling me that Barack Obama is a messianic do-gooder. He's a man descending from the clouds to bring truths from on high to all of us, rather than what he is, which is an ugly, manipulative, racially polarizing machine politician who's willing to claim the right to steal other people's money and spend it on his favorite people, and then divide America based on race, and then make off with hundreds of millions of dollars in book and TV contracts, all the time claiming capitalism is bad and America is unfree. Stop telling me that Michelle Obama is a charming figure of unity, one of the great lights of our age, when she is instead a radical racial leftist who attended America's top universities and is worth bank and complains about the evils of America from one of her 3 multi-million-dollar mansions she earned off the back of being married to Barack Obama, and then complains about the affirmative action of generational wealth while her daughters are worth trust fund $10 million apiece.
You guys already remember from the very beginning of the video, 33 days, no questions asked, no nothing. And of course, to go on top of this, we already know that the media is going to go out of its way to try to cover for her. Of course, for the past few weeks, the media has been acting like, you know what, we're probably going to run some negative coverage until she sits down and actually has a conversation with us. But of course, that right there is more than likely not going to occur. But still, though, this right here is the part that people don't tell you about. And this right here is the reason why it is I'm doing this video, seeing how it is that the rant portion of this video is over with. I've already said it before. People like Michelle Obama, of course, Kamala Harris, the Oprah Winfrey types, these people really and truly don't have no room to lecture anybody. They really don't. Maybe that right there is the reason why it is that these riots continued all the way through the convention, and for some odd reason, Twitter could not get them out. But the local Fox and local NBC, ABC affiliates in Chicago, they were definitely able to get these. And this right here is another reason why it is that I think that this particular Democratic National Convention was 100% absolutely useless. There's more.
Chicago says at least 72 people were arrested during that protest. They were then brought here to Area 3 headquarters, where police have slowly been releasing those arrested one by one this morning.
An unpermitted protest turned into a clash with police last night outside the Israeli consulate. A crowd of about 200 protesters attempted to break through a police bike line. Hundreds of Chicago police officers in riot gear, face shields, and batons held the line and boxed the group in. Protesters again tried to engage with police, but were instead funneled through the loop downtown by bike blockades.
There were cops lined up on either side, and they were pushing everyone in opposite directions, so everyone was just getting squeezed together. There were press people, there were protesters. Everyone was getting basically attacked by the police. Police were shoving people over, just charging into them with their riot gear.
This protester was one of the 72 arrested overnight. She was released early this morning with an upcoming court date.
That was the first time I'd ever been arrested, put behind bars. But at the end of the day, I think the cause is worth it.
She says she and her fellow protesters are critical of the current administration's handling of the war in Gaza and want Democratic leaders over at the DNC to hear their concerns.
We want an end side, not a new person leading the genocide.
You guys heard that. These people are screaming and hollering about genocide and saying that we're not going to support who the next candidate is or the next person, because obviously the Harris campaign is going out of its way to say that, look, we're not a part of Joe Biden's administration, even though you're the vice president, even though you also claim to be the last person in the room for the Afghanistan withdrawal, even though you now claim that you are no longer the border czar and you claim that you will secure the border, even though obviously the border has been an absolute mess since you've been in office. You're not going to be able to undo yourself from this administration. Everybody now knows who the hell you are. When people say they want to try to reintroduce her, I mean, this right here just falls flat on its face for a multitude of reasons. But of course, it's because people have been living with the reality of what you guys have been seeing over the course of this video. Riots between the Israel-Hamas crowd, mostly the Hamas crowd doing this. High prices, ridiculous amounts of inflation. By the way, also the administration, and also to go on top of the administration, the mainstream media telling us that the economy is great, even though it was recently reported that 818,000 jobs that were fake jobs were added, designed to make the Biden administration look like it was doing a better job than what it really and truly was. The fact of the matter is this right here. These people's own base does not like them because these people's base, the voters that they need, know that everything this administration has peddled is nothing more than BS, and they are not happy about what the hell they have to accept. So do you honestly think these people will go out and vote? I personally don't think they will. But somehow or another, they will still find a way to riot when Trump wins in 2024. However, this right here is the thing to me that I believe is the real kicker of the entire situation. I never thought I would be saying this, ever. I never really and truly thought that I would be saying this at all. But how in the hell is it that Chris Cuomo made the best sense of everything you guys saw over the past 4 days? Let's watch some of this.
Theme here at the DNC is that they're going to go after corporate gouging, and they're going to go after corporations, whether it's in taxes, largesse, loopholes. The RNC, we heard the same thing. They're going after the elites, the two sets of rules. Let me reveal a reality to you that has to be spoken to here, okay? These are the soldiers. These are the men and the women that go back to their constituencies and their communities, and they fight. They take time from their jobs. They take time from their families. Republicans and Democrats alike, that's what they do. They need to charge these people up. They need
basically just empty rhetoric, but it actually gets better.
to get them on board. But there's another reality that is literally looking down on them. Greg, look at the ring of sweets, okay? This is not unique to Democrats. There is a game of money. When people talk about uniparty, we are strangled by the money reality in our politics. Those suites start at 500 grand. You think there's like a teacher group up in there? You think it's like the Cub Scouts of Columbia County, South Carolina, that's up in those boxes? Some of them are lobbies and good things. The media boxes, you think they're free? Why do you think I'm on the floor? News Nation is not a broke company. Nexstar is a massive organization. We are corporate media.
He's basically telling the Democratic Party voter at this moment in time that the entire situation is rigged. The entire situation is, anytime you hear Kamala Harris say that she's going to want to do a price gouging ban, he's trying to tell you, or he's about to fully let you know that that's never going to happen because the donor class are the ones who own the politicians, and the politicians are never really and truly going to hurt the donor class. They're never really and truly going to hurt the 1%. You see, one of the most fascinating examples of pure soy boy stuff for feminine men being on stage was Barack Obama. If you guys remember back in 2012, Obama ran against the 1%. The rich should pay their fair share. Yet then he removed the SALT provision, so that way the taxes that they would pay would not hurt their wallets that much. That's what he was running on. He was running on the anger against the billionaires, and of course he didn't do anything about that. Funny how it was that Trump came in, cut everybody's taxes, but then put the SALT provision back in place for those of the top 1% to pay their taxes, at least on the state and local level. Seems to me like the pro-capitalist guy was the one who was actually making the rich pay their taxes. This whole thing about price gouging bans and all this, we hate capitalism, is a bunch of bull crap. I've had to tell this to several people who are on the social side of the aisle. You're being used. You're a useful idiot for a different agenda altogether. An agenda that I'll probably discuss at a later date. However, Chris Cuomo's rant actually gets better.
Because that's the game. You pay to play. Those boxes are filled with the same people that they say they're going to regulate. They are literally looking down on the faithful and being told, yeah, we're going to break down on them. We're going to make them pay their share. They paid $500, $700, $1 million, $1.5 million to have those seats. They get hotel suites that are probably gifted to the party. And the same thing is true with the Republican side. And they're going to take them down. They're going to change how it is. They are looking down from on high at the people who make the difference in their communities. And that is the reality of politics. And I had my producer show you those suites. Now, they're not all the same. They're not all the same. But the reality is, in 2000, they spent $300 million on presidential campaigns. 24 years later, you know what they're expected to spend? $10 billion. Do you know how much money Harris has raised in the last couple of weeks? Hundreds of millions. And that's success. A lot of it's small donor, a lot of it isn't. The most dangerous money in politics is now legal money because of Citizens United. You've got to know this. The idea that they can fight against it is almost laughable. It's almost laughable. So look and listen when you are told.
Chris, the gender-neutral bathrooms at the DNC told me that it was all fake, as you guys can obviously see it. But that right there is what Chris Cuomo is basically telling you. He is telling you that it's all fake. He's telling you that you're useful idiots, the Democratic Party voter. I'm not talking about the basic liberal who's disaffected with the Democrats. I'm talking about the diehard voter, or the people who actually think some form of change is going to come as a result of this. No. It's still going to be the same thing like always. Slowly but surely, slow, small bites of socialism drain you dry, make you more and more dependent on the government, where it is those who are wealthy continue to thrive and prosper. They're the only ones who are thriving and prospering. It makes me laugh anytime these people run their mouth when all you have to do is just do a simple Google search on exactly how much money people were making, what was the overall annual income when Trump was in office versus what it is right now with Biden-Harris in office. And of course, I mentioned earlier how it is that Harris is trying to rip herself away from the Biden administration. I think it's hilarious that Chris Cuomo, of all people, comes out and basically tells anybody and everybody who's watching the DNC or is a DNC voter or a Democrat Party voter or a Democrat Party-ite that you are just a useful lemming is all the hell you are. I found that right there to be absolutely brutal and absolutely hilarious. And there's also one more thing, and I did not mention this right here earlier, because this right here to me is the thing that tells me in particular, this entire thing was a great big giant joke. Kamala Harris's VP nominee, Tim Walz, and yes, we're coming back to him. He, of course, has been getting hit over stolen valor. Of course, the fact that now they're angry with conservatives because people pointed out the fact that his son was crying. I told you guys we'll come back to this a little bit later. But the thing that really bothers me is that Tim Walz is now going after J.D. Vance, a man who was raised in southwestern Ohio. His family would go back to East Kentucky, raised, brought up poor, in a family that was drug-ridden. All kinds of crazy stuff, damn near a broken home, joins the Marines, gets out of the Marine Corps after doing his deployment, which, by the way, he was forced to do, which, by the way, he signed up for, which, by the way, he did, unlike Tim Walz, who avoided going to combat altogether. And J.D. Vance, what does he do when he gets out of the Marine Corps? He goes to school at Ohio State. What does he do after Ohio State? He goes to Yale, which I find hilarious because many of the speakers at the DNC all graduated from Yale or did time at that institution or prestigious institutions like, say, Harvard. But yet Tim Walz wants to demonize this. J.D. Vance is a success story. That right there is what he is. Donald Trump is a success story. Yes, I know Donald Trump was born from a wealthy family. I understand that. But Donald Trump took on $1 million loan. It's a lot of money, but he turned it into billions. This right here was a convention that was designed for one thing and one thing only. It was designed to cater to the misery loves company crowd. The good news, however, is that a lot of people are, in fact, waking up from this BS. And I also find it hilarious that one of the people who carried the COVID line throughout 2020 was one of the ones to tell the viewers that you were all nothing more than stupid, useful lemons. Now, by the way, Chris Cuomo did go after the Republican National Convention, too. Just another man out there who's done with both parties. And I'm not a fan of Cuomo. But I do find it absolutely hilarious that he is the one that basically took down the current uniparty establishment, or at least told the people on air that this right here is what the hell it's all about. Do you honestly think these people are going to charge the billionaires? Do you think they're obviously going to implement price freezes? Hell no, they're not going to do that. Instead, what they're going to do is continue to run the same BS rhetoric out there to get the useful idiots more and more and more on their side. However, as you guys can obviously see, some of the useful idiots are starting to wake up. But you guys tell me what you think in the comment section. Guys, I'm going to try to have 2 videos out this weekend. One that is going to be a little bit more pop culture related. I'm probably going to try to have another one out as well. I wouldn't expect those videos to be high as far as like the time is. I'm trying to shorten the overall times of the videos. I know you guys are, sometimes these videos can be a little bit more long-winded, but of course we've also got, I got surgery coming up this coming week. So I'm going to try to get as much content as I can out before Thursday. Friday, it probably won't be anything. Saturday probably won't be anything either. When I'm home on Sunday, I may try to get an updates video out, but I also know it's going to be Labor Day weekend next weekend. But still, please hit the like button, subscribe, share the video, sound off in the comment section, and I'll see you guys later.